Hey, hey, everybody. We are here like we promised you. It's not at the 6 o'clock hour, but it's a little bit after. Nevertheless, we are here. And joining me right now is Edward Everett, aka Mr. E. How you doing, Mr. E?
Also, a pleasant good afternoon to you all, and thank you all so very, very much for tuning in. FYI After Dark. Once a good afternoon to you, Miss Hinton. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I tell you what, I'm trying to get used to this time because usually when we do FYI after dark, it is definitely dark. But
That's right.
because
That's right.
of the change in time, we're here. It's light outside. I'm excited about that too. But eventually, we'll see the dark come in. I am glad to be here. I'm your host of FYI After Dark. But I also want to remind you all that Mr. E and I host FYI Radio morning show at 9:30 Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And you can be a part of that platform with us. We air on 95.3 FM, WGPL 1350 AM, WPCE 1400. We're also on Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And we are definitely excited about being on that platform. Mr. E, soon to be WMVA at that platform as well.
WMVA 88.9 FM. Soon to be in a few more days. Where our engineer is going out there tomorrow to set up the rest of the information so that we can also bring you two FMs, two AMs, and the worldwide web that you can be heard all over the world. Listen, I want to let our listening audience know also that not only can they hear us on the World Wide Web and their laptop, but wherever they may be, they can also hear us on their cell phone. Wherever
Absolutely.
they go, we are right there on their cell phone so they can never miss FYI After Dark or FYI in the AM.
Absolutely. I want to welcome our Facebook Live friends, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Welcome to FYI After Dark. We love coming on Mondays at 6 o'clock p.m. And we're excited because we have a very special guest. As a matter of fact, we're trying to pull in both our guests on this evening, but we do have one with us already, Miss Cynthia Hall, who's an entrepreneur. She's worked with children, with families, organizations here in the Hampton Roads area. She's going to tell you, she's going to greet you first, but then she's going to tell you where she's from and some of the things that she's done in her life and in her career. Cynthia, welcome. Can you hear me? I think
Thank
we have
you
a.
all going in and out, in and out. But anyway, I'm gonna press on. Thank you all for having me here, and privilege, because I've been trying to get with you, Yolanda, on your show. you know the pressures and things that I've been going through, but I'm ready. I'm ready to get out there and do some explaining, as they said. Lucy said, "I do some explaining." So, yes,
Absolutely.
but I am an entrepreneur. I've been one for over 30 something years. I've had several businesses, mostly in the beauty industry, and also did some distributorships as well. So I'm also an inventor. So I'm trying to get a product on the market as well. Been in this area for, and can you hear me now?
Yes.
We're in and out.
Yes, we can hear you.
It's going to happen. All right, you can
Yes,
hear me?
yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, hear me or not, but anyway, I see you all. Okay, okay. So how much of that did you get? Did you get any of it? You got it?
We got
All right.
we got
Everything.
all.
All right. So what is it you wanted to ask me, Yolanda,
Just
tonight?
tell people where you're from and some of the places.
Everything.
Yeah, not, just tell them a
Okay,
little
well,
bit.
that's a lot. That says
We say not everything, but tell them a little bit of just where you're from and how you, some of the things that you've done working with organizations that care for families.
well, basically, I am, like I said, I've been in the beauty industry for a long time, for over 30 years, and I've had seven or more businesses. I'm an inventor as well, and I'm working on getting that on the market this year, hopefully. Praise God. I hope it will be, it will come to fruition. And also, I also worked in the industry for homelessness, people with that were struggling and trying to find homes. And I worked with 4 kids for a while, and so I am a person that wants to see change come in a better and to help people. So basically, that's what I'm hoping to convey tonight, and start some dialogue on that as well.
Absolutely. And dialogue is definitely needed. This is our Speak Up, Speak Out segment. And when I talked with Cynthia, there were a few things that were on her mind that she wanted to share with our audience. And of course, you all are going to play a big role in our dialogue because we want you all to express how you feel about our topic of homelessness. And we're going to also try to touch on youth violence and what's going on in our community with guns and gun control laws and so many things that we're experiencing. Um, a few years ago, I went to a meeting and it was talking about
Hmm.
uh, eradicating homelessness, getting rid of it. They had a 10-year plan. I'm going to say it was about maybe 13 years ago in the Chesapeake area, and they had a 10-year plan to get rid of, remedy, and cure this thing called
Hmm.
homelessness. I found out after that 10 years, homelessness just took a life of its own on. It just went crazy. You begin to see more homeless people, more homeless families. At one time, you would think that homelessness was just reserved for a small population of people that we call vagrants or hobos or, people that were veterans. It took on a life of itself, and now we see families, children, teens. And I was just like,
Yes.
kind of like very,
Yep.
very, concerned myself, Cynthia and Ed, about what we were seeing now. Homelessness had taken on a new identity. I wondered, Cynthia, if you can address the fact that homelessness is not just reserved for hobos. It's a family thing now.
No, contrary to popular, it is, and it's brought on a lot of, I'd say, a breakdown in as far as costs of living that outpace people. Um, and we have a kind of special issue in this area because we have a large military population here, which they get a BAH, a basic, what is it called? A housing allowance. Okay. They get a basic housing allowance, which when they get that allowance, that allows them to, it gives them enough money to pay for these high, whereas everybody else, it just put them under the bus, so to speak.
Yes.
We can't compete. that at all, because it doesn't pay that around here. We don't get paid that kind of money for the cost of housing and the increase that it has taken over the last couple of years or so. Well, it's been steadily rising, but since the pandemic, it went like 14%. I mean,
Mhm.
through the roof. So now we have a lot of people on the street. We have a lot of people, like you said, families. They can't afford the cost of housing. And it's a sad situation because it's not just the housing that's going up, it's the food, it's the gas, it's the utilities, it's the insurances, it's everything. And that causes everything else to break down. It causes violence, it puts strains on people's mental abilities, and they get so disturbed by everything that's going on, so when we don't have the mental health capacity to take care of the people that need to be taken care of, we don't even have, if someone needs to see someone about problems with their mental health, they usually have to wait months to get an appointment, you know. So
Yes,
while the breaking down and people are just really having a hard time, it's causing a lot of stress, on people. So
it
I'm
is.
just saying, it's just, even when I was working with the Nest program, which was a Norfolk shelter program, but after COVID, the churches kind of, we didn't do that anymore. What happened to those people? Those people went out on the street along with families, So I'm just like, what is going to be done? So I've been listening closely and checking into some things. And, the government just gave out money for affordable housing nationwide. And in Virginia, we got money. Norfolk got 4.4 million. Portsmouth got 1.5.
Yes,
And Virginia Beach
absolutely.
got 2 million.
Mhm.
So these things, they're going to address our rising home prices and the widening wealth gap in ownership. So they have just got this money. So I don't know how, who, but I'm pretty those deal with
Yes,
homeless.
absolutely.
So
I wanted Mr. E to, I wanted you to address something in particular. There was a
I don't
time
know, but
when,
it's not
you didn't see
enough.
homelessness.
You know what I'm
Can you
saying?
hear me,
Because we
Cynthia?
don't have enough
Okay. So Cynthia, she's breaking up right now. We're gonna
put
yeah, so Cynthia is breaking up right now. Mr. E, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you a question in particular. You know, homelessness, like I said, has just taken off and it's doing what it's doing. We're seeing it everywhere. But Mr. E, there was a time when people did not, you didn't see homelessness like we see it. There was a time when if there was a cousin or friend or an auntie or family without, people would take them in. I know my mother took in relatives at their very lowest when they did not have, when they could not get housing or when they were without a job, the relatives would definitely play a role in taking folk in. Why aren't people taking in folk, helping them out? Is that the thing of a? Is that something
Mhm.
from the past, from a movie way back when, or are people stepping up to help people that are homeless?
You
What's
see,
that? We
you see
we
this,
want.
in
In
times
and out. We
Okay.
we've done that too in our household. Yes,
Mhm.
and
You see, in times past, what has happened is we're living in a world, a world where generation has changed. They stopped raising the village. They stopped helping families, because we became selfish. We became on our plane. I don't want to help you. You don't have to help me. We're not our brother's keeper because there has been a division that has set into the family or into the structure of every man, boy, and girl. One time or another, we could sit at the table and eat everybody's food. One time or another, we would share. We would share, run a stitching cord from my mama's house to the neighbor's house so they all can have lights. But there are so many, when generation change, when the generational change and the love separated the folk. It's just like, let me give you a prime example.
Mhm.
When the pandemic hit, a lot of people went back to Egypt. When the pandemic hit, a lot of people went back to Egypt. See, Egypt was a place where they was in bondage and in slavery. So now we are looking at everybody in bondage and now enslaved. Well, Moses had to go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Now, when the pandemic hit and the people was released, everybody's walking around here in a world of their own, don't have no morals whatsoever. They don't care about nobody, but it's already been proven fact. They're gonna be men lovers of themselves. We're gonna be selfish with one another. I'm not gonna trust you, you're not gonna trust me. So now what we're dealing with, I don't trust you. You ain't my family. You my relative way down the line somewhere. And so we done came into a world where everybody is eye for eye, me for me, mine. There is no more us's. No more ours. No more of us coming together. That all that is gone because somebody could have hurt us long time ago. Somebody could have said something to destroy the family. It could have been paused and set in the midst of it. Because when that relationship, when the matriarchs, and then there was matriarchs that held the family together, the glue together. But now the matriarchs that showed love, joy, peace, long suffering, now they're gone by the wayside. So every
Absolutely.
man is for themselves.
Absolutely. Cynthia, you mentioned about housing and the cost of housing being high. We know that's one reason for homelessness. But in you know your career working with those that are homeless and families, are there other reasons? Is mental illness something? Health? What other things are a factor in homelessness?
so many other things like we have people who are mentally unstable. You have people who are disabled, and then you have the elderly are being schooled, and the cost of things are on today, as well as just not enough housing out there that people can stay in and own. We don't have we don't have it. I think that's why this sound pipe come down from the federal government for it, because they know that it's everywhere. And and,
Yeah, Cynthia is
in
breaking up
Congress
again.
now with Republicans and Democrats that uh, they're trying to introduce these vouchers for more Section 8 vouchers for people so that people can have decent housing and more landlords involved in the program to put their properties up. It's a
Yes.
deficit.
Let's talk about let's talk
To
about the
live in.
elderly.
So
You know,
I don't know what else to but I do this.
Okay.
Okay, so Cynthia is breaking up a little bit, but
Push yourself back some, Cynthia.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit
Yeah,
about the
we're
elderly.
breaking up.
Okay, can you push yourself away from your mic a little bit, or either go out and come back in? Um, I'm going to text you. But let's talk about the elderly. And Mr. E,
For
when I
me,
hear the elderly,
okay.
okay, when I hear the elderly being on the street, you know, it's really appalling. Like I said, it was a time when people would take in. Mr. E, what do you think are some of the reasons that elderly people
You know,
are
Miss
on the
Hinton, when
street?
folks used to take in elderly people, folks don't have the time to to really put up with the sickness of elderly. They don't have the time to put up with changing pampers. They don't have, I mean, diapers. They don't have time to give folks bath. They don't have time for folk anymore. Folks is no longer have that LOVE, that love that conquers a multitude of sin. Folks is all in it for themselves. You know, they don't have time to open up the doors and let somebody else come into their home. They don't have time to help that brother, that sister, to, because when they come in, sometimes those who they bring in tear their place up. So they learn a lesson. You know, some of them has mental illness, and folks don't know how to deal with mental illness.
So,
So
do you think people are afraid of the homeless? Are they afraid
I
to
believe
take
they're
in the
afraid.
homeless?
I believe they're afraid of Cousin Bob. I believe they're afraid because it takes a special person to handle Cousin Bob. I believe folks done got away from really loving the family.
Okay. Cynthia, if you can hear us, can you respond to the fact that, um, people have a fear, wherein people would at one time take people in? Like I said in the past, my mother was known to help her sister-in-laws or anybody else that was having a problem at the time. Is there a fear factor when it comes to the elderly, or is it a trust factor? Because sometimes you may see people on the corner and they're asking for money, and you see them day in and day out, and you get kind of skeptical, but you also get fearful because you don't know if they are really homeless or if it's a game.
Cynthia?
Am I the only one that has gone out?
No, go you on. You
Yes,
on.
I can hear you. Oh, I, but most of the time it's in and out, in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear us
But
now?
the seniors, this is another senior because boom, had a large group.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. I
Okay.
can hear you. There's baby that are getting older, so we have more need because this is the largest group of seniors we've ever had.
What about the trust factor and the fear factor? Do people trust homeless people? Some people don't get a good feeling. Where I feel sympathy when I see them, or how can I help? Some people are like, look,
Well,
stay away from me.
She's got a delay.
That's because they're discriminated against because they are on the street or don't have a home, but for work. Most of these homes, because the homeless shelter program, we had to wake those people up in the morning so they could get to their job. We have a different, we not we have extra group of people now, and it used to be poor, middle class, and rich. It's not that way anymore. It's working for have an extra group, and they created that group for people day.
Mhm.
The cost of living is the problem
Yes.
because it hasn't kept the salaries have not kept up with the.
Mhm.
It hasn't kept up. They haven't increased, not like the cost of living price have. Food, everything, the utilities,
Mhm.
food, rent, gas, car, all things have, all my utilities have gone up $100 a month. All mine, every last one of them.
Mhm.
So just into consideration with a lot of people who are not making that much out of their apartment, can't afford it. You know,
Wow.
is a lot of people have moved back in with their families and things because they can't afford the rent.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is definitely
Those are
amazing.
the ones that have somewhere to go. There's a lot of people. So it's a sad situation here.
I want to know how you all feel about the fact that the poor, they're getting poorer,
Yeah.
but the middle class is like a some kind of conspiracy against the middle class to even make them poor. And so, wherein we have a country that is flourishing with milk and
Hmm.
honey,
They
the
even
rich.
consider.
Uh huh. What we're gonna do, Mr. E, we're gonna have to see if we can pull Cynthia out and pull her back in.
1% they're making $100 million or making $1 billion. Nothing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you pull out and then come back into the feed? Okay, we're gonna remove her. So anyway, Mr. E, and you all excuse us for technical difficulty. Cynthia's having problems with her computer. We're trying to get her to come back out, go out and come back in. I don't know what the problem is with her feed. Uh, but anyway, this is our Speak Up, Speak Out segment. We're attempting to talk about homelessness. We have another subject matter, but I'm not sure if we are going to be able to get to that. Just talking about concerns about homelessness, where it's going. It's booming. I mean, it's booming. Mr. E, I've seen where you have the homeless coming out of the woods, homeless living behind hotels, homeless in the street, literally in the street. I saw a man in a hammock. I saw him in a hammock in the trees. Uh, I seen him in the when you go into the business, right, laying down. I remember going to Washington for something in the water, and went to the restaurant next door, and there were homeless people right in the entryway of uh, the um, the restaurants and things like that. It is something. Is it something that you are kind of like looking at now? And what do you feel? What's your feeling toward what's going on with homelessness?
You know, Miss Hinton, when I look at homelessness, I'm very. Are you back? When I look at homelessness, Miss Hinton, I feel some kind of bad because I know that the cost of living has gone up. I know that landlords don't want the germ in their places. I know that the housing has gone up. I know that there's a lot of people that has handicapness. There's a lot of people that on them drugs, and nobody wants drug addicts. Don't nobody want a drug addict in their place, hanging around them. That folks done lost trust with them. Folks don't want to trust them around their children. So when I look at homelessness, when I look at what folks are doing out there, out and about, it really saying this is real, but they need help.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about homelessness, some folks don't want to help nobody anymore.
Well, there are a lot of organizations
That's true.
that are attempting to help uh, the homeless. There are funding that's supposed to be, just like Cynthia mentioned, so much money coming in for Section 8 or low income housing. But the more we try and attempt through organizations and agencies and the government, I think the bigger the problem gets. And I don't know what is going to be the remedy. I have a feeling that after a while, this country is going to look like a third world country. We're going to have people laying about everywhere. And if you look at
That's
states
what we
like California,
planning on.
if you look at states like California, homelessness is abounding. It's amazing. Cynthia, can you hear us now?
She's got to be.
Yes. Florida.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. And it is. I think they have tried to do anything about it.
Mhm.
It has already superseded what in other words, behind the eight ball on this, because it has grown so quickly and so fast, and the prices have they're attributing to homelessness the cost of everything, and it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. And I don't know what they're going to do about it, because tell the people a decent living wage. That's the problem.
Mhm.
They don't give people a decent living wage. They're talking about Virginia going up $15 an hour over
Yes.
a increase of years. By the time you get to 3-4 years from now, when they get to $15 an hour, you're gonna need $20 or more
Yes.
an hour, because
But
it's gonna
Cynthia,
keep going up. Don't catch up with it. So you're
but
gonna
Cynthia, I
always
hate to
have it.
drop. I hate to
It's
jump in
terrible.
on you. I hate to cut in on you, Cynthia. Cynthia, I hate to do this, but do you really think folks want to work? Do you
Yes.
really
Go
think
ahead.
folks really want a job, or do they want a handout?
Ooh.
Mhm. I do. I think they want to work, but I think they want to work for pennies. Want to work. See, this is a different generation we talking about. This your generation and my generation. We take a job, a 9 to 5, and we work our way up because we could do that. There's no more of that. When you get a job today, they want you to work, and they want you to. I remember when it changed, when they wanted you to work and do 2 and 3 people's job for that one salary. That salary was not keeping up, and the salary was not even worth it, because back in my day, I could come out of high school,
Mhm.
go get me a job, get me an apartment, get me a car, and my utilities. I could afford that. but it's not that way anymore. And these young people are saying, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So they rather not take that job. And that's just a different breed than we were, because things are whole lot different than it was when we were coming up.
Well, do
You can
think
get
that,
these kids today and finish college, and they still can't get an apartment. They
Wow.
still can't afford it. So a lot of them are like, I'd rather not work for you because you're not paying me what I need to sustain
Yes.
myself
Mhm.
in this world today. Pay
I
me
want you all. I want you all to
a
address something, Cynthia and Mr. E.
decent wage. Why when
So, Mr. E and Cynthia, I want you all to address something.
what?
Young people come here debt free, but eventually they are pulled into this thing called student loans. Uh, Mom and them taking their names for credit, to get credit cards and things like that. It seems like it is definitely a plot to really get people young to be in debt and to struggle. Uh, they may not even, like you said, want to work at a certain time of their life, but they're saddled down with so much debt because of the system, because of trying to get ahead. What do you all think about the student loans and how it's not giving our children a chance to start like we did, getting a job or going to school and being able to work after coming out of school?
I think here's my opinion on that. I think what has happened is we gave them too many choices. As adults growing up, we give our children too many choices, and they're not prioritized. And nobody teaching basic one-on-one in their homes about the struggle, about what they have to do after they leave the nest. Nobody's teaching them that, yeah, uh, uh, um, you're gonna have to learn how to plan and work the plan and plan the plan and work the plan. Nobody is telling them that, okay, you can go out here and get your cell phone, and when you get a cell phone, it won't go on your credit. Well, they don't nobody told them that. Nobody told them that once they turn 18, that the banks and all the creditors are looking to give you a credit card to keep you from even going forth in life. They'll stop you at the beginning. They want you in their web at the beginning. Time you get old enough to get credit, you can get cell phone. Nobody told me that I'm gonna get it's gonna be on my credit with the cell phone. Nobody told them that. Nobody told them that they gonna that credit card, that they can get credit cards and get a limit of credit. Or nobody. All they see is, this is my way out. I got my own money. And nobody told them they're gonna have to need a job to pay the bill. They have not seen mom and them pay bills. That was behind closed doors. How daddy made money, how mama made money. Nobody saw them. They just know they had a job, and
I
nobody told
disagree with that.
them later on in life they got to pay
I
bills.
disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree because I think these kids are very smart. I think they know that. I really
But you
do. I think these kids are very smart, and I think they understand that. But I just don't think that they're willing to do what we did to have a job.
do you think they have a
They're just
choice?
not willing to do it.
You,
Wow.
you
I
think it
think
because
they
they
do.
got a choice?
And the reason why I say this is technology has created all sorts of entrepreneurs. These kids they're smart. They know how to
Mm-hmm.
use this technology to get ahead and to get what they want. I have met tons of them,
Mm-hmm.
and my daughter included. But
Mm-hmm.
what and her friends. So they're not willing to take a 9 to 5 job for pennies. when they can look and see what other are doing and using. We didn't have these options. We didn't have the options, but they do. And I commend them for looking for you on
Mhm.
they're
Do
working
you?
like a slave, and that's how those young people think, and they see it. They're not stupid now.
So
They're not
where?
stupid. They're very smart. They're smart, and I see some of the things that they do. I see the things that they do. I see young people going around the world and creating their own blogs on this to do this and how you can do this and how you can take it and use that art form and create money for themselves. They know they can get sponsors.
Mhm.
They're not stupid. Now, when I tell you these young people are not going to put up with these 9 to 5 jobs that ain't paying them nothing, they're not going to do it. And my daughter's 28 and she got a whole group of friends that they ain't doing that. And I don't blame
Mhm.
But what happens? What happens,
them.
Miss
Is to
Hall?
work in
What happens? Who's going to sponsor them?
and be in debt and be in debt because they're not going to pay you enough money to not be. Either go to school, get in a lot of debt that costs I don't know how many thousands of dollars. It's not like to get school and owe $60,000 worth of debt. Nothing
Wow.
to get a college degree. When we went to school, my cousin went and got a law degree, and when she got out of law school, she owed $3,500.
Wow.
That'll never happen today. You better look at $100,000 or more.
Mhm.
When I'm telling you, these kids, they just don't. They, so not it's not so much that they don't want to work. They don't want to work the way we worked. They just don't
Yes.
work. I don't blame them.
So what?
So
I'm
that's
for
the
it.
point
I
that
see
that's
smart. I see bright
mhm.
innovation. I see all things.
Yes. And I do too. I see brilliance. I see wiser. I see
I believe
weakness,
in
but I
them.
see
It's,
wiser. But the thing about it
mm-hmm,
is, do they have the
they're
chance? Are
wiser.
they?
These not job and stay on it for 35, 40 years.
Mhm.
God,
Yes. So uh, we talked about homelessness, and we talked about,
creating
how.
it as we speak. They are.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
We're breaking up again. We're breaking up again, but Mr. E, the point that I was trying to make.
violence. We didn't talk about all this homeless.
Yes, that's what I wanted to link together. We were talking about homelessness, and we were talking about the atmosphere of violence and things in our community. Now we're talking about young people, Mr. E, talking about the fact that they are wise, but yet there are a lot of problems that are coming about as a result of you know um, youth violence. What's going on? We see what's going on in the schools at Redneck. We see what's going on in the homes of
Mhm.
many with the guns. Guns they're being accessible to guns and things now. It makes for a very, very strange atmosphere when we have on this hand the capability the poor or those that are homeless, and then on the other hand you got the violence, and you've got gangs. All of it is just seem like it's coming together and making one big mess. Mr. E, what do you feel about what's happening with our youth, people resolving issues through guns? What do you think is going to happen? The laws don't seem to be in our favor. in the sense that they pass very few of them. But we still have this problem. What do you think about gun violence and our youth?
I think that gun violence in our youth is, you know, it's violence. Period is off the chain.
Hmm.
When you look at violence, when you look at what's going on, where they get that from? Where do they get all of that want to shoot you from? Where do they get that from when they come from great homes? When they come from where mom and daddy has provided for them, and they allow outside of their homes to take advantage of them, to allow them to draw them in. And then when they're in your home, some of them just will allow that bad boy. They want a bad boy. I want a roughneck. I want a gangbanger. I want this kind of person. I want that. See, we have created when we don't take care of our community, when we're afraid and we go in behind the houses and close the doors and peek to the blind. We don't stand up for anything. We're too afraid to even voice our opinion. We're afraid because he's going to jump us. We're afraid because he's going to throw bricks to our house. We have allowed this stuff to happen. We know that we did not raise these bad little children. We know that. The jailhouses are full. Now jails are just like being in the street. It's a club. McDonald's and Burger Kings and hot meals are in the jailhouse. So, folks are looking to go to jail. It doesn't faze them.
Yes.
And then when they come out, they bring that saying, one time or another, the world stops when they go to jail. Now the world, when they get out of jail, they bring that mentality out of jail into the community. And they prey on men and women, boys and girls, who they can manipulate, who they can make think. And we're afraid to voice our opinion. We're afraid to tell
Can I
folks
can
no.
I say something about that?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Can I say something? Yeah, we do have to take a lot of the responsibility for our children's waywardness, because we let a lot of things in our house that we should never have
That's right.
had, or shouldn't allowed our kids to play certain violent games and look at violent shows. And we use these type of shows on TV that show a lot of shooting and killing as entertainment.
Yes.
If you feed your spirit, if you feed your spirit with all this mess from the time you little, like some people put their kids in front of the TV
That's right.
or on a computer, and that
Yes.
is that's what feeds them.
Hmm.
Whatever they want to see, whatever they want to play, and you don't say, no, honey, you can't do that. You cannot do that, not in this house. But we haven't done that. We have been we have been the ones who have allowed the children to just run amok with these ideas. And who's feeding those ideas in their head? The computers, the games, the
Yes.
violent shows on TV. I mean, if you don't have anything to counteract that, what do you think is going to be the result? Those kids they're gonna mimic that. That's what they're
Hmm.
gonna mimic. That's what they're gonna do. But we felt
That's right.
like, and we're guilty of this, though. The baby boomers are guilty of this. We're guilty of it because we came out of Jim Crow and desegregation and all that kind of stuff. And then we said, well, we want our kids to have more, have better than what we had, and we couldn't have this and we couldn't have that. And we thought things was the way to go.
Hmm.
Just give them
Yes.
whatever they want. Let them play whatever they want. Let them give them this, give them, give them, give them, give them, give them, give them. But
Hmm.
that doesn't teach character,
That's
and that
right.
doesn't, you know, what the world is doing out there. You know what I mean? Because they
Absolutely.
want to kill children. They, that's what they want.
You know, back in the
So,
days of old, the earth, wind, and fire
but if you
had
ain't
a
giving them
song.
nothing else,
Absolutely.
and don't
You,
just keep going back. And then we got a whole
Mhm.
issue.
Okay, you're breaking up.
Though a lot of those kids came up without a father. The
that's
father,
right.
Wow.
you know,
And you
that
know,
was a
but see,
whole generation of kids right there in a
so
Yeah.
household without a father. A woman
so
can't do all of that.
Mhm.
She won't meant for that all that. She won't meant to be the I mean the breadwinner, the disciplinarian, the teacher, and everything else. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, we got a lot of gifts, but we can't do it all. We
Hmm.
can't do it all by ourselves. So
Absolutely.
it's a lot of lack of men, lack of discipline, lack of a whole lot of things that cause what we are seeing today. The this is the result of that.
Hmm.
Because
have you
Yes.
now we can see years down the road what happened.
have you ever
This is the result of that. And
Hmm.
so, and then
do you
and
think
then the
that people
guns. Now we got
Yes.
3 times as many guns as we got people.
Yes.
have you ever thought
The guns
about for
outnumber
one?
the population
That's
by
right.
3 times. What?
Absolutely.
Have
What's
you
that
ever
now?
thought about for one time
Say it again.
when when we say stuff, they said lack of men, lack of men, lack of men. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why is there so much of lack of men in the house? It's not because they don't want to be there, but have you ever asked yourself, has folks ever asked the question, why the brothers, sometimes women don't want men in the
Yes.
house. Sometimes they hurt.
Yes, I
But have
have.
you ever asked the question, why the brethren is not in the
Mhm.
house? Why?
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Yes, I have because it has happened in my household. But
Mhm.
I also understand too that a whole generation of them were killed in Vietnam.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Okay. That is
Yes.
another lack. See, there's several reasons why we have had lack of men in our households. Not that they didn't want to be there. Some of them were killed. Some of them were put
Hmm.
in jail. We had
That's right.
the war on drugs. They threw a whole bunch of black men in jail for little or nothing.
Yes.
And
Child support.
they did. And once you get
Child
a
support.
felony, once you get a felony, you can't get a partner, you can't go to school, you can't do this, you can't get nothing.
And
So
once you go to jail, you can't get a
that's
job.
that attributed to the lack.
And see,
Absolutely.
and when they
You
look
can't
at you,
get a job. They ask you on the application, have you
that's
ever
right.
Yes.
been convicted of a felony?
Right.
Yeah.
And see, and once that happens to you as a man, see, sometimes
Mhm.
they can be a baby daddy, and some women done got fed up with him because he expressed his opinion, and don't nobody want to understand his opinion. Is one way or the highway. It's my way or the highway, but that we can't work together. And then the children get punished behind it. You act just like your daddy. Your daddy ain't no good. Your daddy is this. Your daddy ain't that. Your daddy ain't this. So I mean, come
It's
on now.
systematic. It's a listen,
We are
that
what
is systematic.
we are
The
what
whole the whole society, especially the white society, designed it that way. He put us against each other. He did it during slavery. He's still doing it in other ways. He
That's
does it
right.
systematically by putting the women against the men. If he
Yes.
if he let the women go ahead and be the head, then she's already at this point, and he's trying to come up to that point, and they're bumping heads because
That's
she's
right.
used to running things. She
That's
had to
right.
run things in order to keep things together, keep her kids together, feed her kids. Let
Yes.
me tell you, they know exactly what they're doing. We have to
It's
realize
it's
the
a
game.
setup.
We
Mm-hmm.
got
It's
to
a
know
setup.
what it is, call it what it is. It's a set up. It's a setup for failure.
That's right.
It's a
And that's what
setup to
they do.
destroy the black family. And
That's right.
yeah,
It's
that's what
it
it is.
started. It
That's
started
exactly
way
what it
back.
is.
It started way back when Egypt. It started way back in Egypt when Pharaoh told his midwife that every firstborn male child of an Israelite kill it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to stop us because we was multiplying, and because they couldn't control us anymore. And the more we multiply, and the more we multiply, the more they was at a disadvantage of trying to control us. But then all of a sudden, because we became outnumbered, we became like crabs in a barrel. We began to go against one another.
Mm-hmm.
We began to be
Mhm.
like the Joneses. You
It's
got,
like the law of preservation.
Mm-hmm.
we began to fight at each other.
Yes.
Why I'm gonna be against you when
That's
we
it's
can
the law of
control?
preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has it. Animals have it.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mhm.
Territorial. We become territorial.
Yep.
This is mine. 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 See, but here's what we have to understand when this stuff takes place like that. We so busy that got to the point where the man is no good now. The man is no good. That's what they say. This used to the man is no longer the head. The man is the foot now. Men are no longer men because they said the woman has arrived and taken over. A woman has arrived and taken over the role of a man. Now men are less than nothing.
But it's
They
not the
have
order of God. It was not
huh?
the order of God.
That's right. It's
He
not the
didn't do
will of God.
that way. I said, it's not the order
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
because to be living in a fallen world takes everything and perverts it and turns it completely around
That's right. That's what society has done. They
for
took the
anybody's
order
good
of
that
God.
way.
They took the order of God away from being the order. There, there is so many folks that I'm in control of me. I'm in control. It's my thing. I do what I want to do. Nobody can tell me how to brand. We got to learn how to work together. We got to learn how to bridge the gap. There's no big eyes and there's no little you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there might be some capital I's and there might be some capital U's, but when we come together as one, we can be dynamite. We can be trouble.
Yes.
We can be the big wheel that turns
We sure
everything
can.
around. When we come together, you look what we have done as black
That's
folk.
true.
We have invented everything in the world. We have invented wash machines, lawn chairs. We have invented can openers. We have been even down to the point of putting pacemakers together. We are
Absolutely.
dynamite if we pull together. But guess
Yes.
what? We don't want to pull
Yep.
together because
Absolutely.
you don't want me to have credit, and I ain't no good because I'm a man.
Well, the thing
But
about
you
it,
know,
Miss,
they know that.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to,
I'm
yeah,
listening.
you all are exactly right.
I'm listening.
Uh, and so we really, really, really need to see how we can, remedy some of these things. And being concerned, speaking up and speaking out is one way of, showing people that we need to pay attention to what's going on. Like I said, at one time,
We
homelessness
need
was
that.
something in the far back. Now it's something that's so big, and now we see our children. I was thinking about Redneck Elementary School and the little boy with the gun. I'm thinking about the gangs that are now in a city surrounding us, and whether people know it or not, it's growing by leaps and bounds. They got 300, 400, 500 strong by recruiting and making young people that don't necessarily want to be in gangs brought in gangs. These things need to be addressed because homelessness can take over a community. Violence can take over a community. And if we don't put a stop to it, it'll take over everything. It'll be just like the country, Mexico, where it's run by the kingpins and the drug lords and things like that. You know, that's the power in some
The
of these countries,
cartels and all
the
that. Yep.
cartels and things like that. And so, sometimes
you
we
know
don't
what
think
gets me
things
about all
can
that
happen
is,
like that in our community, but these things can happen.
mm,
Cynthia?
oh yeah, and they've happened before.
Hmm.
They've happened before. And listen, I've always looked at Mexico as I said now, if all these people are trying to get over here from Mexico, why am I trying to go over there? I don't
It
get it.
don't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It,
Yeah.
I'm trying to
there's
leave there and I'm trying to go over there. That don't make me at all. I'm not
and
going
when
over there. Them people trying to the best way they can. They trying
and when,
hard to get out of. I ain't over
Yes.
there.
and when we look at
So I
guns, when
mean,
we
I
look at gun
think
violence,
some of this stuff is just common.
Yes.
and when we look at gun violence,
Over there.
who's taking away the guns? They making guns
Done.
now. They making ghost guns. You don't have to register a gun. Just get you a plastic machine and a cutter, and you can make your own gun. You ain't got to go to Bob Gun Shop and buy you a gun. Just sit back and mold you a gun. It don't have to have no serial number on it, and a plastic gun. They sit there with these brilliant minds, and they
Yeah,
they
they got
think
3D,
about
the
how they
3D,
can
3D.
make something to destroy. You look at what happened the other day. A 3-year-old girl killed her sister accidentally shooting in Houston. Where'd she get the gun from? Who left the gun out? A 3-year-old kid cannot buy a gun.
Let me ask you something.
Hmm.
Didn't they? I thought they were charging the parents now
No,
of children who got a hold of their guns when they
no, no,
had these shoots. And I worked on
no.
it for a while, but I don't
This
understand why they're not holding these parents responsible.
for
They
the
need to
simple
hold
reason.
them responsible for it.
For
I
the
mean,
simple reason.
Hmm.
For the simple reason the
it doesn't make
parents
any
said.
sense.
For the simple reason the
You
parents
don't
said.
need those guns around those kids anyway.
For the simple reason the parents say the guns was locked up properly. That's it. All the parent has to do is go out and buy a gun box, lock the gun up,
Yes.
and guess what? That's their alibi. That's their way out. See, but you done told when you see we as people, we are what we call ramblers. We are very suspicious folk. We go in everybody else's. We are ramblers. Grandma used to tell her, "You don't ram in my mess. You don't go in my mess." But inquisitive minds wants to know, because we can sit around the house and looking for pennies
And
in a
they're
nickel.
figuring, why?
Dig in your
Yes.
couch, they go look in your drawer because they need a few coins. And when they started rambling to see what you got in your room, why mama keep all of this in her room? Why she hide all this? Well, you can run out of deodorant. Let me go find mama deodorant. And they're in your room. And guess what? They done found your stash. They done found everything you got hid away. But
Rambling.
have not took the
Yeah.
liberty
And
and took that gun up. And it's our fault. And you gonna say hold me accountable? Yeah, all they have to say is guess what? The gun was put in a lockbox. Well, if the gun was put in a lockbox, did you have a lock on the box? No. So who they gonna hold accountable? And they said 3-year-old, these 3-year-old
boy,
children, they are so smart.
but
Yes.
I've heard of them in other places holding the families responsible and
They used to. Yes.
I mean, understand why all of a sudden it's not being done that way. It seems like I don't know what the NRA got some power. They got some power like I have never seen before. Number one, they own our congressmen.
That's right.
They own
NRA.
them. They own
NRA.
them. They go and give money.
That's right.
Lobby. The NRA lobby and pay for these elected officials and congressmen. They pay for their campaigns.
That's
and
right.
they pass laws for them.
That's
so that
right.
people can keep these guns and they can keep making these magazines, these military style weapons that don't nobody need, because you can defend yourself with a regular old rifle. You know what I mean? You don't need nothing that can shoot up a whole bunch of people.
Absolutely.
To defend
I want to
your
ask the
home with,
question.
you know, come of the Constitution had right to bear arms. Yeah, you can bear arms,
Yes.
but it ain't no military style weapons.
I want to ask the question to you all. How can
I
we
mean,
get
that
control
don't make
of
any sense at
guns?
all.
How can
So
we get
I
control of guns? How can we, with so many guns in
they're
the
not
street,
working for us.
You'll never get control of them.
how can we stop it? You can't. So the
Never
next
will.
best thing is to regulate and have better gun laws. What do you feel about Cynthia and Mr. E about the gun laws? Is it enough? How can we get better laws?
See, that you got to remember, first of all, people got to purchase
I don't
guns.
know. Only
You got so many underground guns. You'll never, ever, ever get these guns under control. You'll never do it. Caucasian folks has been teaching their children
black market.
how to shoot rifles at 2 and 3
They're
years
going too
old.
far.
You'll never control it. It's a lost cause, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna be killing.
Yeah.
This is the wild, wild west. This is the wild, wild west.
It is the wild, wild west.
That's
It
right.
is.
Everywhere you turn around somebody's corner, somebody got a gun, and you can ask the question. The police
Then they had to stand ground.
They ain't got no serial
I
number.
don't know what we're gonna do.
If you go in Walmart, you see them walking around with guns on their hip. Ask them if you see their papers and see what happens. They ain't got no papers. They ain't registered. You can get papers online.
Yes.
You can get a concealed permit. It may not be legal, but you can get it online. You got copier machines in your homes right now that can duplicate a dollar bill. You can take it. These folks are brilliant out here. They can copy someone who has already got a permit to carry a gun, and it looks just like the real permit. They know how to alter it.
So is it the problem of guns, or is it the problem of people that don't know how to control and manage themselves?
Yeah,
conflict
but see,
is resolved with violence and guns. Is it people, or is it guns?
You know, when you look at it, Earth, Wind, and Fire used to have a song.
It's all money. It's all about money. It's all about the dollar.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire used to have a song back in the days of old. That's the way of the world.
It's sad. It's sad to think
That's
about.
The way.
It really is sad to think about it.
And then the Temptation came out with another song called
but in some civilized areas, they don't have any guns.
That's right.
Some countries ain't got no guns.
That's right.
We in America, we got more guns than people. And that's because the NRA and the rich people who make the manufacture the guns want to keep making the money, and they take their money and they buy their senator or congressman, and so they can keep these laws, so they can keep these guns on the street and make that money. It's all about a dollar. It has
And, and not only
nothing
that,
else to do other than a dollar.
and
That's
not
all it
only
is.
that,
It's about money.
it,
They don't care about
it,
nothing else. They don't care.
not only
Everybody kill each other like the Wild Wild West
not
and
Yes.
only
sundown. They don't care.
not only that, what they it depends on what country, what state you come from. If you from Texas, you're allowed to carry a pistol. If you from overseas, your
Mhm.
culture. When you come to the United States with your culture, we honor your culture. When you come from Texas and y'all used to carrying a gun, we honor that you can carry a gun because I'm from Texas. When it comes to Virginia or when it comes into the United States have different states in it that has different laws. So that when
See,
you come to a state that says register your gun, they ain't got to register the gun because they from another country. You got the military here. Got everybody, mom and daddy, right down
mhm.
here that has different laws for different people, different
Yes.
strokes for different folks.
Yes, I wanted us to sum everything up. We're going to come back with a part two because there's so much to cover, so much,
The
and we're going to have more people kind of chiming in with us. But before we go, I wanted to just say that there are causes for youth violence, and Cynthia named a few of them. She said media influence. Also, just like with homelessness, mental illness, you have peer pressure, you have
two,
drug and alcohol use, you have traumatic events, domestic violence. That's something we need to talk about too. Domestic violence and child abuse. We have insufficient parental supervision. We have the powers that be setting up, people for failure. So many things causing this atmosphere of violence. And it is, if you notice, violence is getting in our community with younger and younger and younger people. And we do have to stop and do something about it. We have to give skills to our children. We have to bring God back into the equation. We have to parent better. We have to pass down,
thank
some
you,
great
Jesus.
things, great nuggets and education. And we're going to have to do something. Those that are the preservative of the earth, the salt
But
of
our
the
education
earth,
system is
going
suffering
to
too.
have to start doing some things that's going to help those that are lost and that need deliverance from so many things. I want to give you all the last word for these topics. I want Cynthia to go first, and then Mr. E, you sum it up on how you feel about some of the things that we talked about.
Okay. Well, I feel that everything is touching the other. Every issue is a problem or a to go off on kids to Sandy Hook and
Yes,
places like that that are out there protesting, and they're making some. They've already got some laws in place. You know what I'm saying? But they are still working. It's gonna. I'm gonna tell you what it's gonna be. It's gonna be young people that's gonna take over that. They're the ones who are
right.
gonna make the change.
Oh,
We were
good.
the ones that made the change through through all of our our systems to get rid of racism and back in the day when we young people.
Yes.
But these young people today are going to get rid of these guns because they're the ones that saying they want to feel safe in school.
Mhm.
So you can't teach if you got violence all around you all the time, and
Yes.
these kids feel it. So we got to work together. We got to help these kids so that they can get a decent education. But it's a lot of things that need to be done, and I really feel like the change will come, but I think it's going to be the young people who are going to do it. I really
Absolutely.
do.
Mr. E,
I
I
really
think they're
think
going to be the
this.
ones to do it. I don't think. I don't really see.
I really think this in my closing that here we have to take Google away and put God back. If we take away Google and put God back, the world would be a better place to live. But what we done have, what we done so many times, because there's so many different tribes, so many different religions, so many different verses of opinion. There's so many people doing, and they looking up everything they need to know on Google. Google plays a big important role. Google can be the lawyer. Google can be your doctor. We can look up remedies for our help because we need Google. Well, if we get rid of Google and we get rid of social media, if we bring everything around to the forefront and go back to basics and train and teach our children, you got to remember your parents taught you and your parents taught you. So now it's time for us to teach. We cannot look for the schools to teach our children. We have to put a foundation in our children. We can't be so busy going to work when we look at the conditions of the world today that even the cost of living is so high. We got to learn how to put God back into our home. God first, Google second. God first, Google second.
I want to say thank you to Cynthia Hall. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got to do this again and talk about. There's so many things that we need to talk about, but we need to make people aware of. We cannot be people that have our head in the sand, and not aware of what's going on. But we need to keep that in the forefront of our audiences and let them know that, hey, even though there are issues, there are remedies. Even though there are problems, there are solutions. And it's up to us to do as much as we can to make a change and make a difference in our world. We can do it. And so I want to thank Cynthia and
We
Mr.
sure
E.
can.
Thank you so much for being on. Miss LaWanda Tillett wasn't able to come in, but she is up here with us, rooting us on. I want to say hello to Henry McCoy and all you all that are up here. Make sure you join us on Wednesday for FYI Morning Show. And we have some more things that we're going to discuss. We're still celebrating Women's History Month, and we are just hooray to those that are doing great things, women that are around us, women from the past, uh, those that have just made that impact in our world. We congratulate you all. But join us on FY Radio Morning Show. We come on at 9:30 Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we have various topics. We have great speakers that come on, issues we talk about, and we just have a great time. And don't forget on Monday night, 6 p.m., we are coming on with our After Dark show. We're digging a little deeper than we do on the morning show. And so we would love for you all to continue to come on, chime in, talk about it. Let's get this dialogue going. And you can also be a special guest on any of these platforms. Mr. E will give you that information, and you can join us on some of these platforms to speak up and speak out.
I want to say thank you so very, very much. I want to say good afternoon to Mr. Chris Hinton,
Okay.
along
We
with Miss
gotta get
Barbara Lauren, LaWanda Tillett. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show After Dark. That's right, that's FYI Radio Show After Dark. If you'd like to be a sponsor or if you'd like to be on the show, all you have to do is drop your email. That's all you have to do. Drop your email and let us know that I like to be a sponsor. How do you drop your email? You can go to Epidemic Facebook page, Miss Yolanda Lady Hinton Facebook page, or you can go to FYI Facebook page, or you can email us at FYI Radio Show Live at gmail.com. That's it. All you gotta do is put all that information there, and if you like to be a special guest, or you like to be in the audience, all you gotta do is drop your information, and we'd be more than happy to have you as our special guest on FYI After Dark or FYI in the AM. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350. Praise 95.3, WMBA 88.9, and on the World Wide Web. And on YouTube, on Twitter, you name it, we there. We are on 10 different platforms where you can check FYI radio show. Don't forget FYI After Dark. That's every Monday from 6 to 7. Right here, live on StreamYard, on Facebook, on all these social medias. Okay? Thank you so very much. Thank you,
Yes.
Cynthia.
I would like to invite Cynthia to come on with us at least once a month with our Speak Up, Speak Out. We're going to do that once a month. We'd love for her to be a part of the panel, and just come on with us once a month if you can. Let me know what Mondays are good for you to come
I would
on,
like to.
and we'll pull you in. And I want to apologize, everybody. We will have our things, our platforms, and stuff together. We'll make sure we have great shows and great content. So, Cynthia, we extend the invitation to you to be a part of this platform once a month. I'll speak up and speak out, and let's talk to people. Let's find out what they're thinking, how
I
they
would love
feel,
it.
and let's just join together to see if we can find solutions for some of these problems.
All righty.
I want to say thank you, everybody. Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're going to see you all
right.
Wednesday, and also
have a good night.
God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening.
2 down. 3A.
Good night, everybody.